raw, make fun of human society kind of stuff. Extreme. He's getting a real charge out of it. Yeah. And I really liked that.
Amusing. He clearly feels gleeful about this location.
We are Guide to the Unknown, and these are our Ghost Adventures.
Hello, welcome to Ghost Adventures. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
He's back. We missed him so.
I missed you all.
Yeah, he's not just a ghost.
How about that? I listened to the episode that you did with Bethany, and I loved it.
It was very fun. We had a great time.
I'm not going to lie. There was some nerves there that the show would be 1,000% better without me. And guess what? Number one, it was.
No.
Number two, I loved it, though. That was so much fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Obviously, the standout moment. I'm not saying anything that people don't already know.
I think I know what you're going to say.
The Martha Washington moment on that episode was so funny, I couldn't believe it.
I don't think we've ever gotten more feedback, or at least me personally, I don't think I've ever gotten more feedback from anything than this Martha Washington thing. There have been so many comments across social media platforms and personal messages and all of that telling me that other people indeed did the Martha Washington thing. Bethany is aware of this now. Actually, after the show, I Googled it, found that was a thing, and I sent it to her, and she was like, what the hell?
It is pretty unbelievable. When I heard you said it,
Will didn't know it was a thing.
No, for one thing, I had the exact same experience as Bethany.
Yeah.
Let me just say that when you said, well, when you were in a pool and you pop out and flip your hair back and go, I'm Martha Washington.
Yeah.
Bethany goes like, what? And me, Will, at home alone, I was like, what? What are you talking about? You did that? And then my second thought was, of course she did that. This is Kristen, the same person that dressed up like an American Girl doll, like a little pilgrim.
Yes.
And, carried her books with a belt wrapped around them. Like,
correct.
Of course you tried to play like you were Martha Washington in a pool. That was the fun you had. Mm-hmm. And then I was shocked.
Yeah.
I think I had texted you about it, and you were like, people are backing me up. So I started looking online at people being like, I did it too. And I was like, what? How is this a thing that multiple people have done?
Right. And I even sent him the same thing that I sent Bethany, which was just a Google image search of Martha Washington pool and people doing it. And Will was like, are you sure this isn't people making fun of the idea of somebody doing it or something like that? And I was like, no, it was a thing that children did.
I can't believe it.
I know. It's really weird. And then Bethany, I think, pointed out, like, why is it Martha Washington, not George Washington? Because it was really his hair that was like that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think Martha Washington's hair had quite that roll all around the front that he did. I
guess
it's just gendered. Like, it was girls doing it and we had long hair, so we said Martha instead of George.
Martha Washington, because you couldn't be George.
Right, I guess.
Is that the idea?
Maybe.
What a baffling thing.
I know.
That in and of itself, I think, is paranormal. The fact that numerous children did this without influence from each other somehow is insane. It's like how children know how to do the rumba, and no one's taught anyone how to do the rumba in 100 years.
No.
Where are kids picking this up?
They just know it. The other thing that came out of that episode that got a reaction was me revealing my formula for detecting when a couple is breaking up.
That's right. You had told me that one before, but It is still fantastic.
I hadn't publicly expressed it before, and our great friend Liz Sauer of Ghosts in the Burbs, who appeared on episode 4 of this show, put out a message to me on Instagram to test me a little bit. She posted. So what I said in that last episode, I won't go super far into it, but I said that I've noticed that if somebody posts an inspiring quote next to a cute selfie of themselves, I think that their relationship is breaking up. Liz posted on Instagram a picture of a quote that says, next time a stranger talks to me when I'm alone, I will look at them shocked and just whisper, you can see me? And then the next slide is a picture of her wearing a happy Halloween shirt. And the text says, this is a test at Chill and Kristen at GTTUpod. And I didn't get it at first because I didn't remember. And then she was like, you said, if these things are put together, it makes you think something. I wanted to see if you would notice. And I was like, oh, so this is me just casually asking, sup, girl? Sup? We haven't talked in a while. How you doing? And she was like, I'm fine. We're fine.
That's interesting. I wonder, but here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. Liz Sauer, as creative and a creator.
A creatrix.
A creatrix.
A queen.
Right? Like, I feel like your methodology particularly holds up for people who aren't always using social media for the purposes of, like, just sharing, like,
promotional stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right? And, like,
yeah, it's personal people's social media.
Yes, I think that might be, yeah.
No, it totally is. It completely is. That's why I didn't get it at first, but then I realized what she was talking about.
Okay, all right. So it just requires a little more nuance is all.
Yeah, or just me remembering what I recorded 2 days earlier.
That's true too.
And forgetting.
Right.
So very fun episode. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Liz, for participating.
I loved it. Yeah. I loved it so much. Thank you, Bethany. I'm so sorry that we still have not met.
I know. We'll do it again sometime.
We were this close, and then I was too disorganized.
What are you gonna do? Those two were Boffo guests. And I think we'll be seeing them again.
Oh, I loved it. I love that show so much.
So it's all good. So let's jump into this show. This is the season finale of season 1 of Ghost Adventures, where they visit the old Idaho Penitentiary.
That's right.
So I'm going to launch into my summary of the show before we kind of break it down into categories.
Fantastic.
The old Idaho Penitentiary was 130 years old at the time of filming this show, and it has an unsurprisingly violent history that, some say, has led to a haunted present. 10 executions took place there, and conditions were extreme. There was a small room called the Hole that made solitary confinement preferable, since it was a similarly sized room that would be jammed with 8 to 10 people as punishment. People today have heard the sounds of pipes being worked on even though no one is there. They've been pushed and touched. Shadow figures have been seen. Doors have been locked and unlocked, and electrical switches have been messed with. While hearing these accounts and investigating, our crew also goes to speak to people around the area of the penitentiary to trace the movements of a notorious killer who was housed there, named Raymond Snowden, also known as Idaho's Jack the Ripper. The Ghost Adventures crew visits the club where he met his victim and the location where he ditched the murder weapon. Snowden was hung inside the penitentiary, and it took him 15 minutes to finally die. He definitely seems to be our head bad guy ghost of the episode. Zach and Nick also head up a very tall hill across from the penitentiary where back in the day, looky-loo freak families would pack a picnic to look down onto the outdoor gallows at the penitentiary and watch executions. There are snakes all over the mountain, and Zach is freaked out. It's one of the best parts of the episode. Besides that, and maybe actually even including it, I think Zach is the happiest he's been throughout the first season. In this episode, he clearly feels gleeful about this location. They also experiment this time with ITC, a method of capturing spirits on film, going frame by frame to see if any ghosts are able to materialize on screen through technology. So, what non-snake scares does this episode hold? Let's discuss.
I couldn't agree more with you when you say that Zach seems to be at his happiest here.
Gleeful.
Like a child.
Like a child. I feel like he has a twinkle in his eye, a different quality of the eye in almost this entire episode than he has in any other. And he says it. He's like, I like this place. I like being here. I know it's weird to say, but I like it.
It is weird to like it.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of nowhere. They seem to be surrounded by desert.
Right.
It's an abandoned penitentiary with high walls, with steel bars.
Right.
It is old and decrepit.
And he's thrilled. And it's not like they haven't been to other abandoned places, but for some reason, this one's just like really hitting the spot for him.
He's getting a real charge out of it. Yeah. And I really liked that.
I did too. It was nice to see.
Because other than that, there was nothing about this episode that really screamed season finale to me. You know what I mean? Like nothing big bombastic happened. It was more like, well, we had an episode at 8 episode order and we are at the end of it or something like that.
Right. I mean, it's a cool location.
Yeah.
It is cool, but it's not so much cooler than anywhere else we've been. Just on its face.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. The snake thing was very standout. I wonder if in advertising the episode, could they have played that up or something and that made it finale worthy?
I don't know.
It was finale worthy to me.
It was to me as well, but on a particular scale of how wacky Ghost Adventures is.
Yes.
Like him with the snake. Listen, I know that that's probably something for a strange move section, but let's just talk about the snake thing.
Fine by me.
So the premise is they were told families used to picnic on the hills around the penitentiary so that they could watch the prisoners be executed.
Right.
It specifically said that parents would bring their children. What a sick
It is deranged.
family outing.
You know what it reminded me of? And like, I get it. These are bad dudes or whatever, but it reminds me of footage of people standing outside the penitentiary where Ted Bundy was electrocuted.
Right.
Like partying, like they had posters and they're cheering when it finally happened. And it's like, it's just very gruesome. Like, even though he was a bad person, it's still a person dying. And it's a strange thing to cheer. I know you could say like they're cheering for justice or whatever, but it still doesn't feel good.
No, it gives you a very justifiable reason to celebrate mayhem.
Death.
You know, like we are animals.
Yeah.
And I know that there are people out there, like survivalist type people, that are like, listen, when the chips are down, I will absolutely rip your throat out to protect my kin.
Yeah, right.
It's like people that just want
Yeah.
to
They're
kill.
just waiting for a chance.
Bloodlust, right? And
Yeah.
and so even somebody quote unquote bad being killed, there's some people who are going to revel in it.
Right.
And that is sick to me. That
Me
is
too.
insane. Bring your children, have a picnic. What are you talking about?
That's absolutely bizarre.
It is grotesque.
Yes.
That is like, make fun of human society kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we need to be taken down a peg.
Yeah,
That's so
our
grotesque.
brains have a broken part.
Absolutely. Horrible.
crazy.
But Zach and Nick are going to run up to the top of those hills to check out the vantage point.
Right.
And Zach, I thought at first was making a lot of sound about nothing. When he was like, there could be snakes around. We might have to look out for snakes. I was like, there are no snakes. Snakes everywhere.
Yes.
By the way, I don't know.
Lousy with sakes. He said that it just looks like the ground is moving.
Which it didn't.
Well, maybe for him, he was looking down at it.
Or was he quoting Indiana Jones? Because they go to that like part of the temple and they're like,
Does he say the ground is moving
seems
in
to
that?
be moving.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Snakes.
He does reference Indiana Jones earlier, so you're right. I bet he is just referencing it.
He might be.
Yeah.
There are plenty of snakes up there, yes. But they also usually like kind of like stick and watch, and then he can dodge them pretty easily. For the ground to look like it's moving, there would have to be like thousands of snakes, right?
Yes. I didn't gather, not to break down this one sentence too much, I didn't gather that he meant like the whole ground looks like it's moving, but that
Right.
like if you're to do a sweep, like there are lots of areas where there's movement happening.
There's a lot of snake
Like if you're
zones.
just blurring your eyes and just kind of look by.
It's true. So
Oh, I hate snakes. I really hate snakes. They freak me right
you're
out.
a regular Indiana Jones.
I am. I do not like them. That would have sent me right back down that mountain, TV, sure or no.
Well,
Absolutely
then
not.
you're a lot like our pal Mr. Bagans, because he claims
I'm
not to like
not.
snakes.
He kept going.
He said he didn't like them though, Kristen.
He said he didn't like them, but he kept going and he picked one up.
He sure did.
He's like, okay, I'm just like never done. I'm going to face my fear right now. And I was like, are you out of your mind? Was it camera adrenaline?
I have never seen anything like that. I can't believe that was on a show.
I know. I happened to know it was coming because our internet friend and patron of Guides to the Unknown, Debbie, who we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show, told me this part was coming. She was like, this finale is very memorable because there's a snake thing.
Oh.
And she didn't totally explain it, but I knew it was coming because of that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
For a
my
million
God.
reasons, I did not see it coming.
Yeah.
And when he picked up the snake and they put a warning on the screen saying, do not pick up strange snakes.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, no, don't do this.
No.
You shouldn't do this. And
He's like, oh, he's curling toward me.
yeah, the snake was trying to arc its head toward him for a second. He doesn't know if it's venomous, theoretically. Maybe he does. Maybe he knows it's not venomous. I don't know. I don't know enough about snakes to even be able to look at it and say one way or the other. But why would you do that? What are you doing?
I know.
And then-
I think TV adrenaline.
It made me feel like there is a streak of danger seeking and adrenaline junkie a little bit
Yeah.
in Mr. Bagans. It was that kind of push it for
Yes.
the camera,
Yes. Oh, I definitely think so.
kind of dangerous theatrics that like Johnny Knoxville does.
Yes, it was absolutely crazy. And he seemed more genuinely scared during this snake thing than I think I've seen him before, because it was a very different kind of scared. He wasn't screaming like he normally would. He was doing this weird kind of dull, like, that seemed like you trying to restrain yourself because of whatever. You feel like a dork or something. Like, I just felt like he, at some points on this Snake Mountain, was not being super on for the camera, Zach, and just being like, ha, ha, ha.
Well, hey, picking up a snake and then showing it to the camera, and then they cut to another angle where he's still holding it. And like, I guess if you're going to do it, get as much footage of it as you can. But also, why are you compelled to go this far when you're on camera?
What compels you to take these chances? I mean, they climbed up that like 200-foot water tower a few episodes ago.
Sure.
So they're willing to, I think there's a streak of danger.
I guess so.
Running through our Bagans, like so much hair gel.
And by the way, when they get to the top of the hill, it's for nothing.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know.
They get up to the top of the hill so that they can see the penitentiary.
I was thinking the same thing.
And then they cut to commercial.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, there's no real reason to go up there. I mean, just out of curiosity to see what the people were seeing. But I was like, is it going to turn out that somebody died up there or something? But no, not really.
Just for the adventure of it.
I think it was just for the adventure of it. I think they started and then they couldn't stop because they turned around at one point. They're like, oh, we're not high enough. And I totally thought he was going to like bounce because he was also uncomfortable with the snakes, but he just kept going.
Yeah.
So I think it was just for the thrill.
I know. Yeah, it was real weird.
Oh my God, it gave me a thrill. I loved it. Before we launch into our normal categories, I also want to mention something that perplexed me a little bit, that the Constantinos are in this episode.
I know.
So we talked about them in episode 3 of this show. There's an episode of season 1 that isn't commonly on streaming services. It isn't on the Travel Channel app. It isn't on Hulu. And I had seen online that it was because Mark and Debbie Constantino were in it, and they died in murder-suicide, with Mark killing Debbie and then killing himself.
Right.
And I'd read that they pulled the episode because of that. But then actually Liz told me separately off the show that there are episodes that are available that they're in, so she's not totally sure why they pulled some and didn't keep in others. That's definitely something I want to talk to Liz about when she comes back.
Yeah.
We meant to talk to her about it when she was on, and we totally forgot, because she definitely has some perspective on the Constantinos that was news to me. But just thought it was interesting to note that they're in here and this episode wasn't pulled.
I know. And even that episode 3, it was Moundsville Penitentiary. Another jail.
Right.
So I don't know if it wasn't a subject matter thing. There must have been something in that episode that caused it to be pulled.
I know. It must have been something outside of them. For a little bit when we were watching this episode, or I was watching it separately, they had only shown Debbie at first. So I was like, oh, I wonder if they don't show episodes with Mark. Maybe Mark is in this episode, but then he was. So I really don't know.
The only other thing that comes to mind is Moundsville Penitentiary is also the episode where they visit somebody who used to work at a penitentiary. He opens the door and falls over. It's like an older gentleman, and it has nothing to do with anything. Right. I'm like, maybe somebody took issue with that, or I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. There just has to be another reason is really what it amounts to.
Right. But no, I've heard that other episodes that they're in have been pulled. It's just not all of them. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see, and we'll definitely have to talk to Liz about it. So let's launch into our first category, Will. This is the always very relative, most convincing piece of evidence.
Most convincing piece of evidence.
Why don't you start us off?
I really felt like in this episode, a lot of the things that they captured were, in some ways, just like typical Ghost Adventures fare. A few EVPs that, EVPs are always sort of like oddly convincing or not at all convincing. Right. It's really one or the other. Shadow people, stuff like that. But then they do this thing, the ITC.
Yeah.
Do you have your notes on this? Is it instrumental transcommunication?
I can't believe it. I didn't write it down.
I think that may be what it is.
Yeah.
They take a digital video camera and they point it at a television, and it's filming its own signal. So they're getting the video out from the digital video camera pointed at the television. So it's creating this loop. It's filming what it's seeing, and what it's seeing is what it's filming. We, by the way, this is something that we could do. I have an old video camera that Dad had gotten. It shoots night vision, and I was able to make it work.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
I also have this old CRT monitor here, which used to be used by Rutgers professors. It's got a very particular set of like inputs and outputs on it that most TVs do not have. I used it to edit the Earthbreak show that we displayed at the Tribeca Film Festival.
Yep.
So I've got this monitor here. I've got that camera. We could absolutely do this. What Ghost Adventures captures is a silhouette
Right.
of obviously a human being.
Yes. Definitely. Also, they were like, it's wearing a hood.
I know. Just
Couldn't
like
tell anything. It just looks like a head. It's just an outline, filled in outline, but like a shadow, like a very solid shadow.
yeah. And
Can't tell it's wearing a hood.
yeah, you're right about the wishy-washiness of most convincing piece of evidence. I was not convinced by it,
Right.
but I was entertained by it.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like it's like evidence that stands out. I think for season 2, I might posit that we change this a little bit. I kind of talked about this with Bethany during the course of the show
Right.
that you guys heard, and maybe make it just evidence, and we just talk about the evidence.
What
and
is it that
discuss
they captured?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But for today, I think we'll keep it divided. I thought that it was interesting that the stuff that's typical ghost showy was just it wasn't that bombastic, like we said, for a finale. Like, they caught a shadow in the shower room when Aaron was in there, and it was subtle, which makes it slightly more believable to me because it's not like a person in the
Yeah.
ITC. And by the way, you were right, it is instrumental transcommunication or whatever. There was also a very faint shadow or mist around Zach at one point. Again, not like big, so it makes it a little bit more believable to me, because if they were faking it, why not go bigger with it?
Right.
You could always say, if they go bigger with it, it makes you more skeptical of it, so whatever. But those stood out to me as things that seemed a little bit more convincing in this episode. Subtle shadows and mists and things like that.
I was glad at least there was not another like outlandish thing.
Yeah.
Like they had done the hand shadow a couple of episodes ago, and I just didn't. I don't know. It felt like distinctly faked to
Right.
me. In this, there was just stuff that I was like at least entertained by and was wishy-washy enough in the way that I believe most ghost stuff is kind of wishy-washy.
Right. Like, there's no way that was a person.
Yeah.
That thing on
Right.
the ITC.
The thing on the camera. Yeah. I even liked though that like they talk about this guy, you called him out in the synopsis, Raymond Allen Snowden, Idaho's Jack the Ripper.
That's right.
And he was hung when he was executed. And this silhouette on the TV has a skinny little neck.
Yeah.
And its shoulders are kind of lopsided. One's up and one's down. And before they even said it, I was like, oh, so the silhouette makes it look like the neck has been stretched.
Right.
As if a person was hung.
Right.
And maybe even like the spine went out of whack and like the bones broke. And so one shoulder is
I didn't
lower than
think
the
about
other.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I almost hoped that Zach wouldn't even call that out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I buy the evidence.
Right.
Spoiler alert on that. But I was entertained looking at it, and it made me fill in backstory.
Yes.
It made me go like, oh, the neck on the silhouette is skinny and stretched because the body was hung, and so it dropped and elongated the neck, and the shoulders are out of whack, blah. And I was kind of hoping they wouldn't even say it on the show.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they made that.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that they would let us fill in our own blanks. He did say it, but it was a micro thing, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. The other thing I was surprised by, I thought the EVPs in this episode did at least sound like voices. Even if I couldn't tell what they were saying, they said that one said, hey, say what? And there were others. If you told me that these were just like bad recordings of a real human, there was no ghosty thing to them, me listening to them be like, that sounds right. That sounds like you recorded a person.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
sometimes EVPs just don't sound like anything at all to me, but these at least I could hear a voice, a human voice in them.
Right.
So I put them in this category. All right. You want to roll over to worst?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's talk about the worst evidence.
Worst evidence.
Okay, I'll start this one off. This isn't even evidence, but it was just something that stood out to me as fun, and I really liked noticing it. But I was like, that's not anything. And I don't even know if they thought they were. Before it's total darkness and they go into lockdown mode, Zach sees what he says are evil eyes in the sky looking down at him. And it's partially on my mind. This stood out to me because on this past week's episode of Guides to the Unknown, where we talk about EVPs and ghosts and technology, I talk about a phenomenon called pareidolia, which specifically calls out noticing faces or shapes in clouds that aren't there. So I was like, oh, it's a little pareidolia moment.
Yeah.
But also, it did look awesome. That sky looked badass.
It did look like a pair of eyes.
It did. It totally did. It
Yeah.
was like dark sky and then like a little bit of the sun peeking to these like through these like two almond-shaped things next to each other. So I really enjoyed it, but I do not think that it was a demon looking down at them.
No, I don't think it was a demon looking down at them. I thought
Yeah.
it was the good showmanship. I thought it was
Yes.
the good Bagans showmanship.
It was a cool thing to point out. I don't even think he really thought it was a big deal.
No.
But
I
yeah. Mm-hmm.
also do like that the host of Ghost Adventures, who's trying to capture ghost evidence and sees patterns and things that most people don't, of course.
Yeah.
He has, he really
He's
is
got
tuned
radar.
into pareidolia and sees faces in the clouds. Of course he does.
Hell yeah, he does.
He would have to.
It's our boy.
And that either verifies or completely contaminates any
Mm-hmm.
evidence he captures. The fact that he sees stuff.
Again, I don't think so.
He's either
I think
tuned in or-
it's case by case,
His head's
and
in
you
the
can't
clouds.
know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it validates or invalidates everything as a whole.
Fair enough. There was a moment for me. It's really the only one that I'm going to call. I think it's the only one I'm going to call out here.
Okay.
He's talking to. This is in the segment before they go into lockdown, where they're talking to everybody who works at the penitentiary today, and he's speaking to a woman who says that she felt like she was being pushed
Yeah.
just outside the cells.
Yeah.
She was walking along the row of cells, and she says that something pushed her, and it's like it pushed her forward. Zach asks her how hard she was pushed, and she pushes him to show, and he's like, whoa, you were pushed hard.
That's quite a push.
Quite a push. And then he goes, so let me ask you something. You say you were pushed. Do you think that you were attacked by a spirit?
Yeah.
The camera lands on her. She thinks for a second. She goes, probably.
Yeah.
Probably?
What do you think we're here talking about?
The word probably is so, like, it so minimizes
Yes.
the impact.
A push by a spirit?
Um,
And Zach really stumbled.
probably.
Yeah.
Like, not like, yes.
Yes.
Not like a
Or-
super committed one or like,
Or
no, I
even,
refuse
I
to
don't
believe.
know. I mean, I've never believed in ghosts, but something happened, so I don't know. Just probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably.
Probably. It's just like, oh, you're on camera, so you have to. And you know
Right.
you're talking to a guy who's wearing a shirt that says GAC.
Yes.
So you know you got to give him the good.
Oh, absolutely. Well, speaking of that GAC shirt, do you have anything else for worst evidence?
No.
Okay, the only other thing I have for it was the man wearing a hood on the ITC, which
Yeah.
we pretty much already addressed. But Will, I know we're going to have Bacon's wardrobe check sparingly. I have a feeling for me that's going to mean every week. I've always got something to say about what
I know
he's
you
wearing.
do, and I'm more than happy for that.
That's fine. All right, so let's do the Bacon's wardrobe check.
Bacon's wardrobe check.
Okay, when you saw this GAC shirt,
I knew exactly what it meant.
I didn't at first. I was like, what the hell is GAC? I really
knew it.
wasn't sure. It was obviously something ghostly because
Mm-hmm.
it's GAC with then kind of like misty stuff around it, almost like now that I knew what it was, like you're looking at something with a flashlight, like that kind of orbit. I didn't know at first. I was going to Google it later, but then of course he turned around and the back of his shirt up toward the neck said Ghost Adventures Crew,
Mm-hmm.
and Crew is in red. And I was like, oh, it's their own branded merch.
I figured it out immediately. I looked at it. I wrote down shot one. Zach has a shirt on with GAC written on it above a cross. And then I wrote Ghost Adventures Crew?
Yeah.
Inspired by pimps? It's another acronym. He created an acronym. He saw Bill Tolley
Yeah.
had an organization with an acronym name.
Oh.
So he created an acronym
I forgot
and
about
put it on a
pimps.
shirt.
When you said inspired by pimps, I thought you meant like the noun pimps, like people. And I was like, what? I gotcha.
No, the
an
Paranormal
acronym.
Investigations of Mysterious Phenomena Squad.
Of course, which inspired Plumps.
Yes.
I don't
Our
remember.
organization.
Correct.
The Paranormal Losers of Unusual Mysterious Phenomena Squad.
Yes, that's what it is. Good job.
Ghost,
yeah.
Ghost Plumps.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Maybe
Yes.
he was like, huh?
It was-
Ghost Pimps, huh? It sounds pretty good.
I think in the past I have likened Zach Bagans to Bam Margera,
yes.
who I also love.
Yes.
And Bam Margera is known to see things that he likes and then just lift them and make them his.
Right.
And
right.
I got sort of a flavor of that here.
It could be.
He's
although
got
it's
an
not like-
acronym shirt. It's not the same. I'm
well,
not
it's
saying
also not like, Billy Tolley like invented acronyms. So it could also just be.
it absolutely could be. All I'm saying is a few
Yeah.
episodes ago, we met a cool guy who's going to end up being one of the cool main guys on this cool
That's
guy
right.
show. And he has a cool guy acronym for his organization. And now here's Zach wearing a cool guy acronym on his shirt. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
take from it what you will.
That's fine.
That's my observation.
It could. I think it's a very good observation. It certainly could be. So that GAC shirt, it was worth comment just in itself to me. I'm sure it jumped out to all of you guys who watched it if you did.
Oh, they could call it Zach and the Gak. Because it would be Zach and the Ghost
Zach and the
Adventures crew.
Gak.
Zach and the Gak.
Yeah. Would you want to spell crew with a K then? So it's like Zach and the GAC?
So you got
Is that
Ghost
cool
Adventures
or
crew with
not?
a K?
Because it's GAC and Zach is ZAK. So it would just be better visually and
It would
more
be better visually.
satisfying.
I
but
agree
it would
with
be
you.
much dorkier.
Which is even better for them.
That is true.
Zach and the Gak.
Yeah, that is true. Zach, yeah. No, I like that. So he's wearing that. I also noticed that the silver ring, which was new in the last episode, is back in this episode. I think he was wearing it on his middle finger in the other episode. It was on pointer in this one.
Oh.
It's a silver ring that has a skull and crossbones.
A pointer ring is rare.
I love a big pointer ring, actually.
Really?
If I'm wearing a statement ring, you're going to see it on my pointer.
Huh.
It feels right. So I was wondering, maybe it was a little tight on the middle finger because the middle finger is the biggest of all your fingers. He moved it over one.
Right.
Been there. I noticed during the investigation we have some contrast stitching on the pockets of his big pants.
Okay.
He didn't technically wear these, but he at one point he wanted them. When they were having a hard time going up that ridge with all the snakes, he said to Nick, jokingly, of course, "Got any golf shoes?" Because he needed
Right.
traction.
Oh, okay.
So I still felt like that should go in Bagans' wardrobe check. And the last thing is that late in the episode, when they are analyzing the ITC footage with the Constantinos, he's wearing a long-sleeved sweater with metal D-rings on the sleeves down by the wrists for like straps. It's
What's
kind
a
of
D-ring?
like an S&M referential kind of accessory.
Oh.
So like, you know how there'll be like, you know, like a leather necklace that has like an O ring or whatever. So it'll be like a leather choker that has like a big metal O on it.
Oh, okay.
His shirt down by the wrist on the sleeves had two D-shaped metal loops. Those you would also loop something through to tie someone right up.
Oh, so he's supposed to be like tied to a ceiling?
Yeah, I guess so.
Be like suspended?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
But they also just put those on clothes. Like it's just an accessorizing thing, but that's kind of what it harkens
Oh,
to.
'cause it's
like,
cool.
yeah, it's just cool.
Right.
So I don't really think, I think if you're getting tied to a ceiling, you're probably not wearing a long sleeved sweater, but it's just, you know,
Probably not.
it's just a cool accessorizing kind of gothy thing.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. I don't know. Maybe it's Donald Duck in it. All right. I've got Bagans' clothes off my chest. He probably does too if he's going to get tied to the ceiling, as we said.
What was that? What was that? Was that like a W.C. Fields impression in there a little bit?
I don't know.
What happened? You get possessed by like an old-timey vaudeville entertainer? Yeah, we've already said as we said. What?
I don't know what happened.
How strange.
Well, how appropriate.
How
Because
strange.
let's move on to strange moves. I don't know why.
Strange move.
I'll try to be normal for the rest of the episode. All right, Will, you take the floor. I've
For
been
season 2,
certainly talking a lot.
For season 2, we should make the interstitial things, but have them be more David Bowie or more devilish. Like, strange moves. Strange moves.
If you're willing to do that.
I'll do them all.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'll do them all right now.
All right, that's our promise for season 2.
Most convincing piece of evidence. Best evidence. Worst.
Wait, those are the same thing.
Well, I'm giving you numbers. I'm giving you like different options because we already
okay.
said we might even get rid of that.
Oh, right.
Evidence captured. Evidence captured. Worst evidence.
Disdainful.
Worst evidence. Feelings. Feelings.
Oh my God.
Bagans' wardrobe check. Strange move. Strange move. Strange move.
God.
Most dramatic moment. Most dramatic moment. Most dramatic moment. Best quote. Best quote. Best quote.
I wish you guys could see this.
They might be able to.
Oh my God.
I'm taking video.
Yeah,
All right, that's everything, right?
That's everything.
That's everything.
Oh my God. Do you think if there was a newcomer...
We should put those out there for people too, so they can make their own. Maybe we'll take homemade ones if people are up to the challenge.
Sure.
You should make them anyway, just in case.
I was about to say, do you think if there were like newcomers to season 2, they would hear this and turn it off?
Strange
when they're like,
move.
what is wrong with these people?
What? Yeah. What's happening?
What's that voice? Who's that guy?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yes, we certainly will.
Or people will be like, you got to hear this podcast.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I just heard the coolest thing of all.
Yeah. They're stings. They're cool. No, you go. Now you go. You tell me a strange move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The strangest of all. I mean, are we pretending like there's not one that rises up to the top already?
What?
As they're doing the tour of the penitentiary, listen, this is something that I typically wouldn't even want to talk about, but I've got no option. My hands are tied here.
Yeah.
As they're doing,
just like Zach's in that sweater.
It's true, with his D-rings.
Yeah.
As they are touring the facility, somebody talks to them about the shower room.
Right.
Where it is said that an inmate was, quote, and again, we're talking about a ghost show where horrible things happen. We're going to talk about executions and stuff.
Right.
An inmate was said to have been gang raped to death.
Right.
Okay. They say that. It is what it is. We get to lockdown. Now it's Zach, Aaron, and Nick left to their own devices.
Yes.
And a whole lot happens that makes my head spin. I couldn't believe it. First of all, when they come back from commercial, they go like, you remember what she told us about this place? They do a flashback.
Yeah.
They flashback to the moment where she says that an inmate was gang raped to death, and they put like an echo effect on it.
Yeah,
like
say it more.
Like you really are remembering it.
Yes.
And so then Zach goes, I just got an idea. The shower room. And Aaron goes, you're going to make me go in there, aren't you?
Right.
They cut to the shower room, and Zach goes, we hear you making noises. And I'll tell you what, because you've been making noises for us, I told you I'd give you a gift. And our gift to you is Aaron. And Aaron goes, dude, I told you I'd give you a gift. Our gift to you is Aaron.
Right. Our gift to you is Aaron.
By the way, what if the spirits had like taken that to the fullest extent and then like whisked him away to another world?
I know, to the other realm.
What if like Aaron lifted off the ground and was carried out a window?
His water bottle lifted out of his back pocket.
Yes. Yeah. They tried to pick him up.
Right.
And
he's already in the shower room separate from him. So he's saying this and Aaron's like past some like bars.
Yeah.
Or fencing kind of stuff.
We just locked him inside the shower room. We heard some bad stuff happened. And then a voiceover goes, in an attempt to entice the spirits, we offered up Aaron. And it worked. Because Aaron had an experience in there. What are you doing? What's happening? What am I looking at? That might be the season finale-ness of it.
Yeah, that's true. That voiceover killed me.
In an attempt to entice the spirits, we offered up Aaron. And it worked.
Oh my.
Oh, Aaron.
God.
Poor Aaron.
Poor Aaron. There was definitely some juvenile, like, insensitive glee about
hugely
what happened in there. Like, oh my God.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
They don't have
gay stuff.
They don't have much sensitivity.
No.
When it comes to the dead, I will say.
No.
They, as much as they want to say that they only provoke the evil spirits, whatever, they also take the stance that anybody who is in this penitentiary must be evil.
Yes.
So who cares if it was like the justice system not working?
Correct.
Who cares if it was like false imprisonment, being trapped, being held against their will for no reason?
I think they felt there was a carte blanche that they don't usually have.
Yes.
But they have it here because it's a penitentiary.
Do whatever you want. It's a free for all. That's part of the reason why he's like a kid in a candy shop, is because these prisoners are his candy. And he can do whatever he wants.
Just like Lady Snake said in that Halloween special.
That's why I keep saying it. Spoiler alert. It's both foreshadowing and a memory.
Yeah.
They did a live stream at the Haunted Museum that Zach Bagans runs.
In like 2018, I think.
Lady Snake was in the basement, obviously couldn't think of what to say, and she kept going, the spirits are running loose in here. like a candy shop.
It's like a candy shop over and over.
They'd be like, what do you mean, Lady Singh? She'd be like, it's like a candy shop. She like, couldn't think of another thing to say. Zach is like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah.
And it's because these spirits are evil, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
So sure, they offered up Aaron to entice the spirits. You may have my boy here.
Right. What the hell?
Take of my boy as you wish, spirit. It's working. It's working.
It was so goofy and bonkers. Also, if you think about it too long, not cool.
Not cool at all. You don't even have to think about it that long.
No, not think about it. But if you go a level deeper beyond being like, oh my God, they're so stupid and goofy. It's like, well, this is very messed up.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I told you I'd give you a gift.
Right.
And our gift to you is Aaron. This is what he thinks the spirits would like to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to.
No.
Why do you think we want this?
It was one of the strangest of strange moves, for sure. But also,
It's insane.
Aaron, his face and everything during it was so funny.
It was.
He's the king of reaction shots, and he's just like, oh dude, oh, it's kind of like wide-eyed, like
Right.
not total terror wide-eyed, just kind of like, what is happening? This
Oh
is
man,
like, this is weird.
guy,
Yeah.
bro, I'm in over my head now. Like
Right.
it was like the stakes are so less given their demeanor
Yes.
than what it is.
Yes.
And it's just like it's like something out of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where this is like not to them, it's like not a big deal.
Right.
It's like what is your world?
Right, but of course, if you were to think about it like a normal person,
Yeah, this is deranged,
yeah,
sick,
yeah,
dismissive of people's suffering,
of course.
demonizing of the long dead and quote unquote evil.
It's crazy.
Absolutely insane.
This was something, speaking of it being insane, that Aaron said that could have gone in best quotes, but we're talking about it in strange moves and it slots in perfectly here. When he was inside the showers, like waiting to capture any evidence, he said, I'm sorry you died in here. I think that was wrong for them to have done. I really think when you go out, you need to not go out in the shower and not naked.
What a mess.
A very strange move.
I think I've said this earlier on this show. I never would have thought that there would be so many, like, I don't know why I didn't, but like so much like sensitive, horrible subject matter on this show.
Yeah.
Even though I thought it was like kind of like going to be like a silly light affair, and it is.
Right.
But it's also like, yeah, Zach like carries a noose with him where he goes sometimes and mocks people who've killed themselves.
Right.
Here's a story of like sexual assault, and they're kind of making jokes, and I can't even tell what's happening.
Yeah, right.
Like, just didn't expect to be looking at this like the scope of this show and for it to be a minefield.
I mean, I think it's because they don't really linger on it in a way that encourages you to think about it in a very real world
just
way.
move on, yeah.
But because we're dissecting it, we're talking about it.
Right? Yeah. They're like the Three
little bit different.
Stooges.
Yeah.
You know, in that sequence where it's just like Curly is being put in a bad situation by Mo.
Right,
Like that's
yes.
really what it boils down to when you're watching it, is that it feels like very cartoony
Yes.
circumstances and risks.
Yes, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
very, very goofy. A strange move that I noticed that was just kind of like a production-y trying to try something out thing was that when they were talking about that killer guy, what was his name? It was Raymond something. They talk about the knife that he disposed of out in front of a store.
Yeah.
And they do a shot of a knife dropping onto a sidewalk and sticking out of the sidewalk in front of the store.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
It was very weird. It's just a brief thing.
That's weird.
It was just strange to see. It was kind of out of place. And also, the only other thing I have to say about things that are strange is that I noticed that Nick tried to try on a little bit of like Zach bravado
You sure did.
at one point. He was like, okay, inmates, you have 24 hours. Like he was playing the warden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like Zach had played the warden at Moundsville.
Yeah.
Nick tries it on, and yeah, he says, you're going to be stuck in here for 24 hours unless you make a sound. I was like, 24 hours is nothing to these people.
Yeah, of
Number
course.
one, they were prisoners in here, and they were stuck against their will for far longer than 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Number two, even if it's in isolation, I'm sure the currency of being in isolation, and they already said it, like some people were in there for up to a year.
Yeah.
So to threaten someone with 24 hours as your ultimate act of provocation is
Right.
like peanuts.
No biggie.
Number 3, they're ghosts.
Yeah, they're ghosts. And
And
also,
they will exist forever now.
You're writing-
So 24 hours, who cares?
you're writing a check your ass can't cash, because what if they do make a noise? You're going to release them?
Yeah.
You're lying to these ghosts.
Nick can try on Daddy's pants, but
They
listen,
don't fit right.
They
They're
don't
too
fit right.
big for him.
They're a little loose.
They're a little too big for Zach.
He's got to get them taken in.
That's right.
I was going to make a joke, and it was a reference to an Arrested Development scene, and I realized that I wouldn't play that way. There's a whole thing in Arrested Development where Job is wearing his dad's suit. He's like, it takes a big man to fill these pants, to fill Dad's pants, except I have to get the crotch taken in. So I was going to go, Nick can try on Daddy's pants, but he's got to get the crotch taken in. It felt like I was making a real comment
Yeah,
on
right.
Zach's manhood.
Too literal.
Yeah, too literal.
Yeah.
It was going to be a Job.
It is funny, though.
Give him a Job.
Yeah, give him a Job. Okay, are you ready to move on to most dramatic moment?
I will be. The one thing
Oh,
I
no,
want to
that's
call
fine.
out, because the only other strange move I really had was Snake Ridge, but we already went into that.
Yeah.
However, I will also call this out. They go to the gallows room. And of course, because why wouldn't he? The way this shot is staged, Zach is speaking to somebody who worked there. He is standing beneath where they would hang the rope, meaning he is standing on the drop zone,
Yes.
where you would drop the body to hang. Of course.
Yes.
That's how the shot is staged, with Zach standing where the hanged man would go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, not so much a strange move, just like a corny bravado that I could
Right.
have called without even seeing it.
Yeah.
And I just saw it and I was like, of course.
Of course, that's where he's
Yeah.
standing.
So, hey, before we get to our dramatic moment, we're going to take a quick second to talk to you about something very special.
That's right. This episode is sponsored by the aforementioned Debbie. This is Debbie Tercio from Debbie Draws Funny. DebbieDrawsFunny.com carries funny and quirky greeting cards, posters, and vinyl stickers that are heavily inspired by Debbie's weird sense of humor and love for current pop culture, as well as the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Now, Debbie has been listening to Guides the Unknown for a long time. We've interacted online a lot. She's one of our awesome patrons, and her sense of humor has definitely come through. She has a lot of Seinfeld references that she throws
Yeah.
our way because she knows that we love them, and she has a lot of Seinfeld products. There is even a timely kind of quarantine related Elaine Spare a Square card and sticker that's available. I actually bought our mom a Mother's Day card from Debbie that she really, really loves. We're huge fans of Debbie's, and we so love that she's in our orbit. So we cannot encourage you enough to go check out DebbieDrawsFunny.com and get yourself some stuff.
Yeah, Debbie is definitely part of the Guide to the Unknown universe.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like maybe been here since the beginning.
I think very early. Yeah.
And her work is incredible,
Right.
without a doubt. You can find Debbie Draws Funny stationery products online. Go to DebbieDrawsFunny.com. It's DEBBIE, drawsfunny.com, and on Etsy, and in almost 300 brick and mortar stores across the U.S. and Canada. Debbie's work has been featured in, get this, because this is pretty mind-blowing.
Yes.
The New York Times.
I know.
I am blown away by that entirely.
Me too.
Not
Somebody
surprised.
likes us who's been featured in the New York Times.
I know, it's wacky. BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Glamour, Real Simple, Pop Sugar, Cleveland Scene, Time Out New York, Board Panda, Cool Mom Picks, The Bump, and many, many blogs. And now here on Ghost Adventures Adventures.
That's right. She has a really recognizable kind of signature style
Mm-hmm.
that if I'm scrolling around online anywhere, I have actually seen her work, not just in our Instagram feed, and I've recognized it as Debbie's.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool and colorful and cartoony. She does really awesome hand-drawn fonts. I think you guys would love it. And she has a lot of things that are kind of spooky adjacent. And I will say, she gave me a little hot tip that she's going to have some Zach Bagans stuff
Oh, no way.
coming out.
Oh,
So
that's
definitely
great.
make sure that you follow her online everywhere at Debbie Draws Funny, especially on Instagram, so that you know when it does. And if you decide to shop from DebbieDrawsFunny.com, which you should, you are going to have a special coupon that is just for listeners of Ghost Adventures Adventures. You will get 20% off your order with the promo code GHOST from DebbieDrawsFunny.com or her Etsy shop.
Yeah, so type in capital GHOST on DEBBIE drawsfunny.com.
That's right. Debbie, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. She rules so hard.
I know.
And now, let's get back to the show.
All right.
Let's talk about most dramatic moments.
Most dramatic moment.
William, you have the floor. Because I don't have any.
I
Snake
know.
Watch was my most dramatic moment.
Snake Watch and the shower room are really the standouts. They are strange moves. They are dramatic moments.
They are everything.
They are everything.
Yeah.
They are all encompassing. However, I did write down one.
Okay.
Zach is now trying to provoke the ghost of Raymond Allen Snowden, the Jack the Ripper of Idaho, into speaking with him. And one of the things that he does, he hangs a noose in the gallows room, which, sidebar.
Well, it was already there. I think that penitentiary is open for tours and things like that. He didn't hang the noose there.
Are you sure? Because
Yes.
he's carrying around a noose sometimes. Sometimes that gallows room has nothing hanging in it, and then sometimes it does.
No, I'm positive. He's never carrying around a noose in this episode.
Excuse me.
Really? He's carrying it around?
Yeah, there's a scene where he's speaking, he's like sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the shots of evidence where he sees a shadow that's touching his arm.
Mm-hmm.
When he stands up and walks out of the room, he's got a noose over his shoulder.
Oh, really?
And he's walking out of the rope is just trailing on the ground pathetically behind him.
Oh.
Unless I'm seeing things.
I stand
which I might
corrected.
be. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like if one of us is saying Zach Bagans had a noose and one of us is saying Zach Bagans didn't have a noose, I'm more inclined to believe the one that said he had one.
Right.
I
Fair
don't know
enough.
why I thought he didn't.
I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
But I had the impression that they were taking him through the penitentiary kind of the way they would do a tour and that the noose was already in there.
Okay.
Because it was the gallows room.
They might also do that. He
Yeah.
may have just taken the noose for his ability to...
or another noose.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he came...
Yeah.
Maybe he's always got a noose.
Yeah, maybe it's part of their ghost hunting equipment.
It might be. I'm not sure. But either way, he's in the room, I believe, and he's trying to talk to the killer guy, Raymond Allen Snowden.
Yeah.
And he says, he's like, what were your last words going to be? Because part of the lore, part of the story is that Robert Allen Snowden didn't get to say his last words before he was hung.
Right.
And I thought it was actually kind of interesting. They didn't really linger on
I
it that
know.
much, but it is kind of interesting to be saying, like, now's your opportunity.
Right.
What did you want to say? Talk about unfinished business, not
Yeah, the
being able
stage
to
is
say your
yours.
final words before you're hung. So it didn't pay off. Nothing really came of it. But I did in that moment go like, this is like a deep kind of moment. It's deeper than what the show does with it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Right.
And so I jotted it down in my most dramatic moment, even though it wasn't particularly cinematic or bombastic. It just really struck me as an odd, interesting potential thing to be able to get or seek.
Yeah.
What were your final words?
Yeah. That is an interesting thing to try to give somebody the platform that they didn't get to have.
Yeah, exactly. The platform dropped out from underneath them.
Right.
Which, by the way, I never want to go to jail.
Oh, God.
This place looked horrible.
Oh, yeah. It really did.
The gallows room, I don't know what is
That's a
going
small
on.
room,
It's
too.
a small room. They've got a viewing window into
know.
the gallows witness room so that people can pile in there and look through the window at the person who's being hung. The gallows I still think of as being some archaic
Yeah.
outdoor platform. 13 steps up to the gallows. It's just a piece of wood with
Right.
steps that go up to it and a noose on a thing. And it's so weird to just see it be like room 32A, the gallows room,
I know.
like a mundane room in this like very beige building, this relatively modern
yeah.
building.
I think that they had that in the other did they only go to one other penitentiary? Or did they go to two during this season? There was Moundsville, but was there another one?
No.
Is Moundsville in Virginia? I
No,
think it is.
Bobby Mackey's Music World, Houghton Mansion, Moundsville Penitentiary, Riddle House, Sloss Furnaces,
Okay.
former psychiatric facility. No.
Okay, well, I think that Moundsville also had a gallows room, if I'm not mistaken. I know I've seen tours of other prisons that have a gallows room.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It-
On the low files, I think they went somewhere that had a gallows room because I think they went and sat below where the gallows
Oh, I think you're right. That rings a
trap
bell.
door thing is.
Yeah. It looks like a recording studio. You know, like they have a window
Yeah.
from like the mastering room into where the musicians or performers sit.
Yeah.
Like it made me I love that setup. Like I got to go to Hollywood and work on
Yeah.
a show. And that's the environment I was in all the time. And I saw it here.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a dead man room. Like,
I know.
I didn't like it.
I know. Well, that's generally for like the family.
It's horrible.
I know. It's cruel.
What a
It's
nightmare.
Crazy. It
Yeah.
really is. This episode, for a finale and also for such a freaky location, didn't have a lot of super dramatic moments or evidence. There wasn't a
agree.
whole lot of like ghostly activity that happened. There were at least 2 times where they said like he didn't get a reaction, but he felt very creeped out in so many words.
Right, exactly. No, this was like
Which
a
I appreciated.
This was like a little adventure show of
Yeah.
the place and like a character show.
Right.
Because it lives or dies on the charisma of these 3 guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. All right, well then let's move on to our final category
Mm-hmm.
and let's talk some best quotes.
Best quotes.
Okay, I want to address one that I referenced before from when Zach called out that he wanted golf shoes.
Okay.
He was going up that hill with Nick as the cameraman, and he was having kind of a hard time because it's steep, and he went, traction, traction, traction. Do you have golf shoes? Traction, traction, traction. Like, I
He's-
need traction. I need to create traction.
He seemed like a nut.
Yeah.
He was like relatively frantic. Here's another weird thing. This is really more my fault than anybody else's. In order to properly get in place for us to record today, I had to watch this episode on 1.5 speed.
Oh my God.
So
I hate watching things on
it was
faster
making
speeds.
it was making my heart race.
Yeah.
But so him going up that hill, he was moving so
Traction, traction, traction.
Yes, he was moving so fast and being like, "There's a snake! Oh, there's a snake right there! A snake! Well, I'm gonna face my fears right now." And he picks up the snake. It was just like it was making my heart race.
Oh,
And I was like so uncomfortable the whole time.
yeah, that sounds awful.
It was pretty awful.
Yeah. I also want to call out this one before we throw to some viewers. He said, when darkness arrives, it seems like they're coming out of their cells to play with us, and I'm ready to play.
I loved
did
that.
too.
I wrote that one down too.
It's a good line.
It's like that struck me as well as like because I definitely want to get back to you and me go filming somewhere.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do Ghost Losers,
we are.
everybody.
We've got our gear.
Yes, we bought equipment.
That's our cliffhanger for our season finale.
Yeah, that's true. We used our Patreon money to buy this equipment to film Ghost Losers. So thank you very much to patrons of patreon.com/GTTUpod.
But it made me think of things that we need to like kind of land, like whatever location we have. You and I have to do like I have to almost feel like you and I, whether it makes like the show or not, we have to have like a dramatic game with each other where it's like, okay, turn to the camera and say something really dramatic now.
Yeah, that's
Like
a
you
good
just need
idea.
to be able
That'd
to
fun.
pull garbage out of thin air.
Yeah.
When darkness arrives, it seems like they're coming out of their cells to play, and I'm ready to play with them. Like, okay,
That's a good game. I like that.
right? It's kind of fun.
Yeah. I like the idea of our ghost. Ooh, we've talked about this before. I like the idea of our ghost show being referential in a way of other ghost shows.
Oh yeah, we know what
Yeah.
we need to make because
Exactly.
we've seen this
like
stuff.
the scream
So
of ghost shows.
sure, I love that. Now that you've said that, I love it even more.
Oh my God.
But like, yeah, we need a super dramatic quote here to
Yeah.
cut to commercial with.
Right.
Okay. Blah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Beautiful.
Methinks a devil is mischiefing at us. Yeah. What? Maybe that doesn't make the cut.
Whoops. It was like my fate relays a sense of impending doom is imminent.
Yeah, what was
I don't
that?
remember.
Where did that come from?
It was him.
It was him?
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote down another moment here where it's as they're being locked down. So they fist bump all the people
Obviously.
as they're carrying their gear in. But because it's a jail, they close these big iron gates. They also lower this giant metal sheet down to really lock
oh, yeah,
them
they're
in.
in there. Oh, yeah.
And Zach, so excited,
He's gleeful like a child.
starts crouching down as the door is lowering, and just before it shuts entirely goes, "No!" And then the camera has him as he gets back up, and he smiles at the camera like, "That was a good one,
It was
right?"
fun, right?
It was like Michael Scott.
This guy was getting his life.
It was exactly something that Michael Scott would do.
You're completely right about
I'm
that.
joking that it's bad to be locked in a prison.
Yeah.
While it also is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, there's a layer of irony there that he's not aware of.
Yeah.
It was wild. I
Yes.
couldn't believe that he really did it when it felt like something written
I
for
know.
The Office.
You're completely right. That was a very Michael Scotty move.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, I blew through some of my best quotes in the course of the episode.
I know, we kind of were doing it along the way, huh?
Yes, I only have one more, which is not super climactic, but I'll still say it. Zach is talking to Raymond.
Yes.
And he says, I went to the bar where you murdered that woman with that little pocket knife.
Yeah, diminishing
That
the
little
pocket
pocket
knife.
knife, yeah.
That little pocket knife. He's got to provoke, so that was nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
please.
I've got a few left over here. One of them they hadn't done before. Zach thanks the ghost.
Oh, I know, for coming and doing the ITC thing.
Yes. Yeah. For being able to get their silhouette on the footage. He's like, thank you very much. And then he turns to the camera. He's like, it's always important to thank the ghosts, even if they're evil. It's really important to thank them. I'm like, well, how come that's never been on the show before?
I know.
Usually it's you going, are you the one who's doing all this to these people?
I kind of wondered if he was saying that because he felt like he was contradicting
Right.
his bad boy thing a little bit,
Yes.
because he's always like, if they're evil, you mess with them. So I think he said thank you, and then he's like, even if they're evil, you still say thank you. I'm not saying they're not evil.
Yes. In that way, I'm going to say something that people may disagree with. It's very Trumpian. To be like, whatever I say is a fact. So thank you. And then realizing, well, I need to justify why I just thanked what I already said were evil spirits. It's always important to thank them, even if they're evil spirits.
Right. So this still all folds into my worldview, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move on. He also, when he's trying to smack talk Raymond Snowden, he goes, you can touch me and slap me, do whatever you want. They squeezed all that energy out of you, didn't they?
Oh, I know.
And that's why you're pissed. And that's why you're here taunting the living. They squeezed all that energy out of you.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then I think the last thing that I've gotten, it's so stupid. It's just like a little dumb moment, but honestly, it was part of that whole, like, Ghost Adventures is more, I guess here's what it is to me. Ghost Adventures, as it turns out, because this is also our series finale.
Right.
So for me to even look back on
season finale,
to like look back on how far we've come, I feel like my mind is a little bit changed about this show.
Okay.
In the very beginning, I came in looking for ghost evidence with goofy guys. Now I'm here more because the goofy guys happen to talk about spooky stuff.
Right.
Their evidence doesn't convince me.
Right.
But I enjoy going along for the ride with them. And that's why this quote, I think, speaks more to that. It's about them. It's about the people more than anything else. It's so stupid and it's so nothing.
Right.
This is an anticlimax of the highest order. They're going up Old Snake Mountain, and Zach is talking about how he wants to make sure he doesn't step on any of the snakes. And his point is, as he says to Nick, he goes, you want to suck the venom out of me?
Yeah.
And Nick goes, I don't want to suck anything out of you.
Right.
And it's the type of dumb bro,
Yes.
dunderhead, dumb quipping.
Yeah, like, ew.
That you're both laughing with and at simultaneously.
Correct.
Because really, you're not going to help your friend who gets bitten by a snake.
Because you don't want to touch another boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so stupid.
Yes.
It's so stupid. It is popcorn.
Yes.
It is. It turns out I've been eating something different than what I thought I was going to eat the whole time.
Yes, absolutely.
And the biggest shock of all is I'm all right with it.
Yeah. It agrees with your palate, okay?
Yeah. You know what? I've been enjoying myself.
Yeah.
Ghost Adventures has been something of an adventure for me.
Yes.
In that I didn't have a lot of history of watching this show before we got here. Although I guess you hadn't either really, but I think that you...
Not really.
I think you got it more.
Yes.
Than I did. But here we are at the end of season 1, and I've enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you've enjoyed yourself. It's been a real ride. I've definitely enjoyed myself. I hope that everybody who's listening has too. So we are going to continue on. We are going to watch season 2 of Ghost Adventures and talk to you about it. But like a real TV show, we're going to take a break for a little while.
That's
we're not
right.
going to launch right into the second season.
Yeah.
So we don't have a date for you right now for when you can expect season 2, but as long as you follow us on social media and you stay subscribed to the podcast, you will know as soon as it's coming out.
That's right. Yeah, I'll tell you this. I think you can expect season 2 coming this very spooky October.
I think you can too.
Yeah.
I think you can as well. We just don't have the date, but we would be remiss
We'd be remiss
to not be talking about this stuff during the spookiest month of the year.
That's right.
So it won't be a very long wait.
No, not at all. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us throughout this season of Ghost Adventures. We will be back in the future to see what else the Ghost Adventure crew encounters in their investigations.
How things change.
Until then, please make sure that you follow at GTTUpod, as Kristen just said. Definitely tune into Guide to the Unknown, our mothership show.
There won't be any break happening over there. So if you miss us in the intervening weeks, jump over to Guides to the Unknown. You can catch up with us. There are 144 episodes of that show as we record right now. So definitely check it out.
That's right. And if you have anything you want to shoot our way about Ghost Adventures, about Ghost Adventures itself, anticipation for season 2, future guests you'd like to see us team up with, you know what? You should be telling other people about us, quite frankly, and being like, hey, this person I follow, you should go on Ghost Adventures, because it'd be fun to hear your thoughts on it. Post all that stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
And tag us in it.
We would love it if you spread the word about the show. We really want to have fun with it, to have like a big, broad community of people just like enjoying something together right now. So please tell your friends, tell your spooky Facebook groups, and let's make it a movement.
That's right. Tell them all.
Let's have the GAC. The Ghost Adventures crew.
GAC.
GAC.
Yeah. The Ghost Plumps, Ghost Losers. GAC.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We've got a lot of names here. But yeah, tag us in all this stuff online.
Yes, I am at Chillin' Kristen.
And I am at The Myth Traveler. So thank you all once again. This has been an absolute joy. And until next time, we are Guide to the Unknown.
And these are our Ghost Adventures. All right. I've got Bagans' clothes off my chest. He probably does too if he's going to get tied to the ceiling, as we said.
What was that?